Whether we're researching the history of a particular building, landmark, street, or town, our first inclination may be to look for information in the local authority archive for that geographical area. However, if the place, building, or landmark in which we are interested in happens to be located on a university campus or was once owned by or associated with a particular university or its antecedent institutions, then the archive of that university is likely to contain records relating to it. In fact, university archives can provide a rich and sometimes surprising variety of material to support place history studies. This video has been created by Anne Cameron, Senior Archives Assistant at the University of Strathclyde, and Tahitia McCabe, Head of the Strathclyde Institute for Genealogical Studies, to showcase the type of information you might find at a university archive and how to access it. We'll now hear from Anne Cameron, who will describe some of the collections held by the University Archive.
The University of Strathclyde Archives, our core holdings, are records created by and for the university and its predecessor bodies. As this diagram explains, the university was originally founded as Anderson's Institution in 1796. Since then, it has had several changes of name and was also amalgamated with various other educational bodies in Glasgow, so it has quite a complex history. The University Archives contains documents, images, building plans, and other materials relating to almost all the institutions named on the diagram. So if you're interested in researching any of these places, there's a good chance that our resources will be helpful. To give an idea of the types of records we hold, we'll look at a few examples relating to one place in particular, the Royal College building, which is located at the heart of the university campus, running along George Street, Montrose Street, and John Street. This imposing structure is both the oldest purpose-built teaching building at Strathclyde and a distinctive and enduring landmark within Glasgow city centre. It was constructed between 1903 and 1910 to accommodate the students and staff of our predecessor body, the Glasgow and West of Scotland Technical College. The Glasgow and West of Scotland Technical College provided courses of scientific, engineering, and technical education for hundreds of students every year. And by 1900, it had outgrown the old Anderson's College buildings on George Street, pictured here, where much of its teaching took place. These buildings were no longer fit for purpose. We have several plans and drawings of Barclay's winning design in the archives. This example here is a lovely hand-coloured drawing of the front elevation produced in 1902. The foundation stone of the new building was laid by King Edward VII at a ceremony held in 1903. Among many records documenting the event, the university archives contain an album of press cuttings and photographs collected by the college staff, a souvenir programme and commemorative booklet, and even a film of the ceremony, which has been digitised by the National Library of Scotland Moving Image Archive and is available to watch via their online catalogue. This is one of the photographs of the ceremony, taken from above. It shows the King and Queen Alexandra, distinctive in her pale-coloured dress, standing at the front of the platform. In the background you can see the surrounding tenements decorated with flags and their inhabitants crowded at the windows to watch the spectacle. The new building was subsequently erected in 4 large sections, with the main frontage running along George Street and 2 substantial wings extending onto Montrose Street and John Street. When it was finally completed in 1910, it was the largest single structure in Great Britain devoted to education. The Royal Technical College offered a huge variety of day and evening classes, ranging from science and engineering subjects to vocational courses for plumbers, bakers, cabinet makers, bootmakers, and tailors, amongst others. The building contained workshops and laboratories that were specially designed and equipped for these practical classes, such as the Mechanical Engineering Laboratory, pictured here with a motor car hoisted up in the background, the Natural Philosophy Laboratory, or the physics laboratory as we would call it today, and the plumbing shop, which was located in the basement. The building also contained an assembly hall, which is set out for an examination in this picture, as well as rooms for student and staff recreation, including the Muirhead Room, which was the female students' common room. There was even a ship on the roof. This is the land ship, a mock navigation bridge used by maritime students in the college's School of Navigation. As well as records created by the University of Strathclyde and its antecedents, the University Archives also holds collections relating to private individuals, families, and external institutions. These collections have mostly been acquired by the university to support its teaching and research interests, and some of them, such as the Patrick Geddes papers, are of international significance. The Geddes papers contain many records that are useful for place studies, particularly in relation to town planning. In the late 1880s, he became involved in the regeneration of Edinburgh's Old Town, and his town planning work also extended to many other countries around the world, including France, India, and Palestine. To finish, we'll look at examples of two place-related records from his papers. This plan dates from 1913 and shows the first section of Edinburgh Zoo to be planned and built. It was designed by Patrick Geddes in conjunction with his landscape designer daughter, Nora, and Nora's architect husband, Frank Mears. With the well-being of the zoo's animals in mind, the design was inspired by facilities in other areas of the world which had big, open enclosures for their animals instead of containing them in cages, as had been the practice in Britain up to that time. The item pictured here is a sketch of the King's Wall Garden in Edinburgh, arranged by Patrick Geddes's Open Spaces Committee, which sought to identify green spaces within Edinburgh's Old Town. This beautiful and vibrant watercolour is actually by Geddes's daughter Nora, who was part of the Open Spaces Committee. People wouldn't perhaps think of coming to a university archive in Glasgow to find records relating to the social and spatial development of Edinburgh, yet there's a rich seam of material like this to be found in our collections at Strathclyde. Hopefully, this small snapshot of some of the types of material we have will inspire you to search our online catalogue to find out what else we have available, and to investigate other university archives for sources relating to place history.
To find out if material relevant to your place research is held in a university archive, check their online catalog, which will contain information on their collections. Catalogs will usually be available to search online via an archive's website. There are also archive portals where you can search the catalogs of multiple institutions at once. For example, the Archives Hub, which allows users to search descriptions of records held at around 400 institutions in the United Kingdom, including many university archives. But remember that catalogs may not include everything that's held in a particular archive, as they receive new collections all the time, and it can take a while for these to be fully processed and added to a catalog. If you can't find what you're looking for, it's best to contact the archive directly and ask. Most university archives are open to anyone. To find out, we suggest looking at the university's website and then contacting the archive in advance, rather than just turning up unannounced. While some university archives may accept drop-in visitors, many will only admit people by appointment, so it's always best to contact them beforehand. And if possible, telephone or email them at least a week in advance of your proposed visit date and tell them which records you want to see. Check the university's website for opening hours and contact details. And you'll need to observe some rules when you visit an archive, such as no food or drink, using pencils only, or taking notes in your own laptop or tablet or phone. And lots of archives now allow photography without a flash, but do ask before taking photographs. And you'll probably need to complete a reader registration form and bring some photographic ID and proof of address with you. Some archives have digitized records available on their website, so do check to see what's available online, but most often this is a fraction of what's available in person. So we encourage you to explore a university archive and discover what's available for place studies researchers.